Page 4, Meet Me in St. Louis, Louis. The stuff they have there at the top, the new concepts and review concepts, that's the stuff we're going to be doing as we go through this chapter. Thanks. So let's just talk about St. Louis. Now I'm assuming you can read the music and the rhythms. You can read the notes. If you can't, then I encourage you to go back to book 1 and go through it carefully and go through all the lessons carefully and learn to read the music and the rhythms and all that, because I don't spoon feed you the notes. I'll point out certain things you need to be aware of, but I'm not going to just here play this note, then play this note, then play that. No. I'm sure there are plenty of other videos on YouTube that will teach you that if you want. I use a certain process when I learn a new piece of music. It's a process that I've been using for a long time. I keep calling it my process. It's not mine. I didn't make it up. It's been around a long time, and you can have your own process. Everybody will have their own process. But for the videos on covering these pieces, I'm going to use my process for learning it's a series of steps so that you go through. I sort of build it up rather than trying to do everything at once. So let's look at Louis and see what's going on. First, I like to look it over and get an idea of about how long it is, and I see that it's about 1.5 pages long. That's all. I just need an idea. It doesn't need to be exact. And I check the clef signs, treble and bass clef, because they're not always going to be that. They can change. And they can change in the middle of the piece, but that's fine. I just want to know at the beginning what is it. It's treble and bass clef. I check the key signature. I don't remember if you've had key signatures. I'm going to pretend you have, that you're doing the C major scale already. There's no sharps or flats in the key signature. This is in the key of C major. So please do the scale for C major. I got the video. The links are in the description. You're going to hear this lecture a lot. Blah, blah, blah. Okay. And this is a 3/4 time signature. Now both hands are playing, so I'm going to take one hand at a time and make sure I know what each hand is doing first. And then I'll try and put the hands together. Right hand, you're starting with thumb on middle C, here. That puts the hand here. Not going to stay here, but you're starting here. And it's 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. And then they went thumb on here, G. This motion here, like in the scale with the trill exercise, you can do that with this kind of thing. If you'll relax, the thumb will move. You don't have to move around and do all kinds of, just relax. The thumb will come over here, and that puts you in this position, except I need the little finger on E. So really I'm going up to, it's whatever the music needs. So again, at the beginning, it's 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, and then second finger. Now, going from measure 8 to 9. I'm on thumb here, and measure 9, I need thumb here. I'd rather not do that. There's times in music when we have to, but if I can avoid it, I will. I would like a fingering when I'm working on a piece where I can pretty much connect everything with the fingers, if I can. Not everybody uses that type of fingering style, but that's the one that I use and teach. And I don't want to go from here to here on thumb. That means I need some other finger on that G. Any other finger, don't care. Just any other finger. Well, when I'm coming down, I'm on it. However, I've got 6 beats. I'm holding it down. I can do a lot in 6 beats. What I'm going to do is I'm going to just relax. I'm going to put 3rd or 4th finger on it, either one. While I'm holding it down, I'm going to do that. It's called a finger substitution. It's a little more advanced fingering, but hey, you're going to need it anyway, and so here, just do it here. Put 4th finger on that. This way you're ready with the thumb. You can just reach down and you can get it. And do it again. Now I'll measure 13. And then I'll measure 16. They want 2. That's good. That's fine. Because we have a repeated note. We're playing that D more than once. And a lot of times in fingering, I'll change hand positions on repeated notes to get ready for what's coming. And that's what they're doing here. You're in this position and they want you in this position. So I'm going to do it on the D. The reason is because on a repeated note, you got to lift the note up anyway. You can't connect a repeated note to itself. Well, technically you can't. So we take advantage of that action to change hand position. Since I got to lift up anyway, I'm just going to lift up and move. And it could be any finger to any finger. This is good. So scrunch up, little finger. And then cross over here. I'll measure 20. Just one key. Just cross over for one note. I'm not changing. You could, if you wanted to, cross over and stay there and play third finger on that. And reach up and either one works. I don't care. Here, this is measure 20, 2-1, or 2-3. Either one works. And then for measure 24, you cross over again, just going down. Relax, you'll move. Left hand, it's got the chords. We have a C chord, the 1 chord or C chord, and then measure 5, you got the F chord, you got rest, you got time to move. C chord. Now on measure 13, we get the D7 chord. It's like a 5/7 chord in the key of G. Okay, that's fine. Now measure 17, now you come up one to here. It's an E7 chord, which is like a 5/7 chord in the key of A major. I'm getting a little far ahead here. Just you get to the point where you can see these chords as a thing and not 3 separate notes. And so you're thinking D7, and then measure 17, E7, okay, and then going on is the A minor. So make sure you got these chords figured out, and then we put the hands together. Now when I first put the hands together, I hesitate all over. I don't care. I just want to know which fingers are working together and how it works. So it's here, 1, 2, 3. Make sure that D is by itself because the left hand has a rest. 1, 2, 3. Get the idea? And on this finger substitution in measure 7, do it immediately. So I've done it even before I play the next note. 1. So you go through and put the hands together, and then go back through it slowly and carefully a few hundred times or whatever, and work out the hesitations so it's a steady beat. You can speed it up later, but a steady beat, no hesitations. And then I think about the articulation, because when I first learn a piece, I try and connect everything. Now I can add the phrasing and the staccatos and all that stuff. We have staccatos in the left hand. I'm on the key and I'm bouncing off. I'm hinging at the wrist. Boom. It's not way up. Don't hurt yourself. It's just off. And now it's a phrase here. So going from measure 4 to 5, I lift up, just a little lip. It's like taking a breath. It's a new phrase. Lift up. Lift up. Since that lift up between the phrases is how you can get away with the fingering they're showing between measures 8 and 9. But I don't like it anyway, so it's even if I'm going to lift up, I still change the fingering. So we're putting in the phrasing in the right hand and the staccatos in the left. Now you can follow the curved lines for the phrasing in this particular arrangement. Now let's go down to the bottom of page 5. We're measure 29. We're here. Come down 1 and 2. And then here, this is all connected. You see all these curved lines there in the last 2 measures? You have big curved line for the phrase, and then you have a little curved line on the upper staff for a tie, and then you have the little curved line in the bottom staff for a slur. So you got a phrase, a tie, and a slur all at the same time. It's just marvelous in that. Just connect them. Now once I have the articulation sort of under control, I think about the dynamics. The dynamics apply to the melody. MF at the beginning, that's mezzo forte, which is moderately loud, sort of loud. Whatever you think sort of loud. It's not loud, it's sort of loud. These chords need to be soft. you're staying there, I guess, for the rest of the piece. They don't give you any other dynamic. Boring. Once you get the mechanics out of the way, and you can play the notes and the rhythms and the articulation and all that okay, the phrasing, then you start feeling the music. If you feel getting a little louder and softer in places, put it in. It's a personal thing. It's interpretation. We need to talk about interpreting the music. That's taking it beyond the printed page and putting some feeling into it. And one of those things is dynamics. Well, the articulation, dynamics, and speed and all that's part of interpretation. They're helping you out by giving you some guides on how to interpret it, but you can take it a little further than that. And so on the, maybe you want to get a little louder in there and come back down. And then start the next one, moderate loud. And then you want to come down maybe a little bit at that end of that. And then each phrase is going to start at moderately loud though. And then here, one little fingering thing in the right hand I missed, I'm going to point it out. Going from measure 12 to 13, they got thumb on both. No, I don't want to do that. I'm going to use second finger on measure 13 because I'm here. Even though I'm going to lift up, and I could use thumb, I don't want to. I'm going to use second finger on measure 13. And then just reach up, or you have two Ds there, measure 13 and 14. I could do a 5-4. 5-4. I could take advantage of the two Ds to change hand positions. There's different fingerings available. If it's different than the book, pencil it in and stick with it. But on measure 13, I'm going to use a 2, I'm going to use a 5, 4. Anyway, the idea with the dynamics is you feel it. And maybe you'll play it different every time. I do. I usually do. It's however I feel it at the time. And then the speed. Moderato. Well, it's a happy piece. If you were going to sing it, how fast would you sing it? I don't sing in my videos. Good Lord, let's not go there. But if you want to sing it. They show pedaling at the last two measures. I disagree. I'd leave the pedal out here. I didn't pedal anywhere else. I'm not going to add it at the end in this kind of music. Just don't pedal. Sometimes I get the feeling these books, they want you to have a chance to use pedal, so they just stick it in there someplace. I would rather not. That's kind of a bad habit in my opinion. Use pedal for a reason, and there's no reason to use it at the end in this kind of music. If it were a blues piece or something, I might consider it. Remember the natural accents? That we talk natural accents? I don't know. This first beat of the measure is the strongest one. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. If you can't feel these, force them at first. Force them at first, but then eventually you want to feel. Again, that's part of interpretation. It's ba, ba, ba. It's interpretation. Let's play it together very slowly and check the notes and the rhythms. I'm not going to do any dynamics. There really aren't much. I'll do the staccatos. I'll give us 3 counts. Now, we're not performing it. We're just checking notes and rhythms. We're going to go slow. 1, ready, go.